ثالث حلقة من حلقاتنا، ثالث حلقة حبينا أنها تكون حلقة فريدة من نوعها، حلقة تكون غريبة مثل ما احنا معودينكم. دائما نحاول نجيب شيء غريب، شيء خارج الإطار ما حد متطرق له، قد ما نقدر نجيب لكم شغلات جديدة بنفس الوقت طريفة غريبة حلوة إن شاء الله راح تتعلمون منها. حلقتنا اليوم بتكون مع شخصية أو منصب مستحدث في عالم كرة القدم. مثل ما احنا عارفين عالم كرة القدم، في كرة القدم الحديثة كرة القدم بدأت تطور شوي شوي وقمنا نشوف مناصب مستحدثة. شنو هالمنصب المستحدث اللي أنا ودي أتكلم عنه اليوم؟ المنصب المستحدث مدرب رميات التماس. نعم، مدرب رميات التماس. كلنا نذكر التقارير اللي انتشرت في موسم 2018-2019 خصيصا عن نادي ليفربول لما استخدموا مدرب رميات التماس. مدرب رميات التماس هذا إن شاء الله اليوم مستضيفينا. نعم مستضيفينا. في له عدة أمور مدرب رميات التماس سألنا عليها، احنا حاولنا ناخذ الجانب بشكل مبسط، ما نجيب الحلقة ثقيلة، لا احنا مبسطين الحلقة، لأن أنا شخصيا مو حلم ملم في التكتيكات ولا متعمق فيها. أنا شخصيا يعني أحب البساطة في كرة القدم، ونبدأ شوي شوي نتعمق ونتعلم، وأنا واثق أن حلقة اليوم راح تتعلمون منها. بعطيكم معلومات سريعة قبل أروح المقابلة. اللاعب هذا طبعا داخل موسوعة جينيس. شلون داخل موسوعة جينيس؟ كأطول رمية تماس. طبعا هو حاطه في اليوتيوب عنده، وطبعا رقم قياسي جديد. مو بس انه هو اعلى رمية تماس، لا هو مدرب رميات تماس درب في عدة أندية. احد تلك الأندية نادي ليفربول. نادي ليفربول استعانوا فيه في موسم 2018-2019. قبل هالموسم ليفربول كان يخسر معظم رميات التماس، كان يعني ترتيبه ما بين الأندية، هم مرتب الأندية من نادي 1 إلى نادي 20 في الدوري الإنجليزي. ليفربول ترتيبه كان 18، وبعد انضمام توماس غرونيمارك ليفربول صعد من مركز 18 إلى المركز الأول كاستغلال. وفوق هذا مسجلين 12 هدف. بداية الأهداف كانت رميات تماس. اليوم احنا بناخذ منه الأسرار اللي قاعد تصير في نادي ليفربول ما خلف الكواليس. شنو قال له كلوب، شنو سر اتصال كلوب لهذا المدرب، كله راح نكشفها إن شاء الله في المقابلة، وأخذناها من المدرب نفسه. وبتشوفون الحلقة، وأنا أوعدكم إن راح تستمتعون بالحلقة، لأن الحديث إحنا مثلا لما نسمع تكتيك وهالأمور أحيانا نحس في أمور متعمقة، لا هو تدرجنا معاه في الحديث، أخذنا عدة معلومات. يعني أنا شخصيا كان باعتقادي إن مدرب رميات تماس هو بس يعلم شلون يحذفون الكرة، طلع لا، طلع هو يعلم شلون يدافع عن رمية تماس. يعني مو شرط إن عندك رمية تماس، لا هو يعلمك شلون تدافع بعد. وطبعا مثل ما انتم عارفين متروفيتش صديقي، روبرتسون صديقي، حتى المدرب هذا بنخليه واحد من الربع. احنا بنبدا نستثمر علاقاتنا مع كل الاشخاص المحترفين مثل ما هم اصدقائي. انتم اصدقائي تقدرون تكتبون مالك صديقي والامور هذه، انا ما عندي مشكله لان متابعيني انا شخصيا احبهم. ما نبي نطول بالكلام، نبي نخليكم مع المقابله، وان شاء الله المقابله خفيفه ولطيفه وراح تستانسون عليها، هذا وعد مني. شوفوا المقابله. Hello Thomas, how are you?
Hello Malik, I'm fine here in Denmark. How about you?
I'm good, thank you very much. Hope you are well.
Yeah, I'm really well, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, Thomas, for me, you are a Liverpool legend. I support Liverpool. I will not hide this.
Oh, yeah.
And we won the league, and you were part of that. So for me, you are a legend.
Oh yeah, thanks a lot. It's really been a pleasure being a part of Liverpool FC the last 4 seasons here. So it's like a dream come true for me.
I want you to tell me more about the throw-ins. How did it come to your mind to become a throw-in coach?
Yeah, you can say I've been playing football myself for 15 years, and I reached the highest U19 league in Denmark. But I wasn't good enough to be professional. So in the mid-90s, I changed to athletics because I was really fast. And I had 6 years in athletics, and pretty successful with several-time Danish champion. Also, in year 2000 in Paris, I won the European Championship in the 4x400 meter relay together with my teammates from Aarhus 1900. So athletics, the years there was pretty successful. Then in 2002, I changed sport to bobsleigh. And perhaps it's not all of you who know the bobsleigh sport, but that's a winter sport where driving down an icy pitch with between 130 and 150 kilometers per hour in top speed. And on the bobsleigh team, we were really innovative, and we used a lot of video analysis. And in 2004, I thought, hey, if I could make a good throw in myself when I was playing football, then couldn't I teach football players to do it? Because I thought, hey, there's not many players who are good at throw-ins. So when I came down home from that bobsleigh trip in 2004, I went down to my local library to find a book about throw-ins, but there were no books at all, so I had to make my own throwing course. And after a half year, I was ready to coach a team, and I could have been starting with a youth or amateur team, but I had the courage to ask a local Superliga team in Denmark called Viborg. They said yes, and they improved their throw-ins a lot, scored a lot of goals after throw-in situations. And yes, since then it's been a success. Of course, a year after 5-6, I came to FC Midtjylland. And then my big international breakthrough came in July 2018, where Jürgen Klopp called me directly on the phone to ask me for help.
And you talked about losing position. Liverpool were losing position, like they were like the 18th worst team in the league, and they want to be, I think, the first team in the throw-ins. How did that happen?
Yeah, you're going to say, just to give some numbers on that, in the 17-18 season, Liverpool were number 18 in the Premier League, so third last, with a possession on 45.4%. And in my first season, 18-19 season, we improved to 68.4% and went from number 18 in the Premier League to number 1. We also went to number 2 in the whole Europe on throw-in possession, just after FC Midtjylland, one of my other teams from Denmark. So you can really work with that. On top of that, we scored between 10 and 14 goals after throw-in situations all around the pitch. In Liverpool, we don't use the long throw-in as a set-piece weapon, but it's starting from throw-ins at our own penalty area, the middle of the pitch, and the opponent's penalty area. But again, back to your question, how do you do it? In every club I'm coaching, I'm starting with the basics. First of all, of course, I want the players to throw longer, because then they can throw in a bigger area, and but also want them to throw more precise. But the most important thing is learn the players to create team space creation, because most football players are just standing still or only moving to create space for themselves. So I'm helping the players to be more throw-in intelligent so they can create space for each other. Then I'm also helping them learn some specific throw-in tools. And then later again, I'm learning them what can you do in the 3 different zones. And it's not only a few things my players can do. I'm learning them the basics so they can read the game themselves. So in theory, in Liverpool, we have thousands of options, and the players are reading the opponents, but also the team's own movement. So you can say again, I'm starting with the very basics, putting up a little bit more complex tools and small-sided games, and then in the end, I'm putting up the 3 zones and more tactical. I'm also doing video analysis for my team. For example, in Liverpool, I'm analyzed all the games the last 4 seasons, so over 200 games. So I'm also sending that to Jürgen Klopp and the other coaches when I'm not in England. So that's the way I'm working with all my teams.
Yeah, I think Liverpool scored a lot of goals from throw-ins. It starts from the throw-ins and they scored a goal. Which one is the best goal for you?
Oh, that's really hard to say, because there have been a lot of goals that a lot of people haven't noticed. For example, I think we did one against RB Salzburg in the Champions League, where we did some movements. I think we did some return pass, and then we did what I call a mini switch to the second central defender and played it on to Andy Robertson on the left fullback. Then we had a transition, because there were no pressure there. Then I think he played Sadio Mane, who played a 1-2 at the opponent's penalty area and then scored a really good goal. That was one of them, and a lot of pundits and commentators don't see that, because they're more focusing on the throw-ins who are starting at the opponent's penalty area. And yes, we scored great winning goals there against Wolves and against Tottenham Spurs, for example. But there are so many good goals, and I won't say that there's one who's like the best. I'd rather see players trying to do the best thing. And then I'll also say we're also scoring a lot of goals when the opponents have a throw-in, because I'm also working with defending the opponent's throw-in. So I'm working with different kinds of pressure and so we can steal the ball from the opponents. And we scored the last 3 full seasons. We scored 3 to 4 goals every season directly from the opponent's throw-in. So you can work with that too.
Who was the best player for you in doing the throw-ins, and who was the toughest or the worst in doing the throw-ins in Liverpool?
I'll say, first of all, I'm coaching all the players. You know, it's not only the throwers, but also just as much the people who are creating space, you know, between themselves. But I ask a lot, who are the best players you've coached? And I'll say, when we're talking about what I call the fast and clever throwing, that's like creating space, doing it fast. And so at least until now, will be Andy Robertson and Trent from Liverpool, because I work with them so much and they played so many games for Liverpool. So that's perhaps the best players I've ever coached, at least if you're talking about the fast and clever throwing. Then I'm also coaching the long throwing, and I'll say most of my players I'm coaching with the long throwing, they improve between 5 and 15 meters just with technical training. And I had a young guy, Andreas Paulsen from FC Midtjylland, who improved from 24.25 to 37.90, almost 14 meters. He was sold to Borussia Mönchengladbach, you know, in June 2018 for like 5 million euros or so. I'm proud of him. A guy called Kian Hansen from FC Midtjylland. He improved his throwing a lot with 7 meters to 37.2, but he assisted 35 goals from the long throwing from FC Midtjylland in a 4-year period, so approximately 9 goals per season. I'm really proud of him, but you know, there are so many good individual wrestles, and also so many good team wrestles. You know, it's not only Liverpool. I've been winning the Danish Championship 2 times with FC Midtjylland, been winning the Dutch Championship with Ajax, Brazilian Championship with Flamengo, you know, so on and so on. So I'm really proud of all the wrestlers, both with individuals, but also with my teams.